Hello dear students, welcome back to your science classes. How are you all? I hope you all are healthy and doing well. So students, I'm your science educator again here with a new chapter. So today we have chapter number 13, light, shadows and ellipses. So before starting this chapter, we have to understand what is the relation between light and shadow and what does mean by ellipses. So light and shadow means when we have light on ourselves or any object, then it will result into the shadow. And the same kind of thing we have Eclipses as well, which we are going to learn in detail in today's class. So let's get started. First of all, we have our learning objectives, sources of light, luminous and non-luminous objects, some facts about light, transparent, translucent and opaque objects, formation of shadows, conditions necessary for shadows, fun with shadows and shadows in space, eclipses. Okay. So light is a form of energy. It is not matter. It means it has no space. It's not occupied any kind of space and it has no mass. That is it means it is no matter. It does not have weight, mass and does not occupy any space. It enables us to see things. It helps us to see the things clearly. Sources of light. So how we get light? So anything that gives out light, it's called a light source. The sun is a light source. It is the natural source of light. It is also the main source of light. It is also the main source of heat. Sunlight makes the day bright. Just because of we have sun, that is why we have a bright day, right? Otherwise we have a night due to our moon. Okay, so we make use of sunlight to see things. The stars are also source of natural light, but because they are so far away, their light is not very bright. Fire is light source. Fuels give off light and heat when they burn. Candles, wood, oil, kerosene lamps are used to light up places where there is no electricity. An electric light bulb is a light source. So your electric light bulb is also a light source because it's providing light to us. We use electric light bulbs to give light at night because in during day we have a lot of light already with the help due to our sun. And for if we want to light inside the roofs, then we need bulbs to give light. In the bulb there is a coil of thin wire called the filament. It gets hot and glows. The electrical energy is changed into heat and light energy. So this is your burning candle and this is your light bulb. Luminous and non-luminous object. So first of all, you have to understand what are the difference between luminous and non-luminous. So the objects which themselves emit or radiate light are called luminous, which have their own light and they radiate light. That is called your luminous. The sun, the candle flame and the electric light bulb are luminous as they radiate light. Okay. The objects which do not emit or radiate light but become visible by the light falling on them from some luminous objects are called non-luminous object. The moon is a non-luminous object because it has no light. Moon has no light on their own. So we see moon where it reflects light from the sun. Thus we see objects when they reflect light rays into our eyes. So what we understand, where we here we have two kinds of objects. First one, luminous, where they radiate their own light, and the non-luminous where who they radiate themselves with the help of others' light. Okay. Next we have some facts about light. Light travels in straight line. Light always travel in straight line. What you can do, you can make sure you have to close yourself in a dark room and you have to own your torch. So what you see, your torch will travel into a straight line only, right? So a pinhole camera made from a cardboard box has a tree placed in front of it. An invert image on the screen shows the light rays travel in a straight line. Next, motor car headlights give straight beams of light. Light travels very fast. Light travels much more quickly than sound. Think of a thunderstorm. You see the flashing of light before you hear the crash of the thunder. The speed of light is about 3000 kilometers second. So this is the speed, 3000 kilometer per second. This much space she cover in this much space is covered by light in only 1 second. Next, light does not usually go round things. If something is in the way of light, a shadow is formed. So light cannot move itself. They cannot move make a round. So if any object who break, who get in the middle of the light pathway, so what will happen? It will result into a shadow. Transparent, translucent and opaque objects. Transparent objects is something that will allow the whole of the light rays to pass through it. Things like glass, some kinds of plastic and wood wrap are transparent, which can allow the light to pass over them. A translucent apex is a material that will allow some or a little bit of the light rays to pass through it. Things like wax paper, cloth and ground glass are translucent. An opaque object is something that will allow no light. No light is passed through it. That's why they call opaque objects. And the examples we have wood, metal, sheets, mirrors, and are opaque. So basically, we have three kind of object: transparent, translucent, and opaque. In transparent, your lights can be travel, passed through. Okay. In translucent, half partially we can say that light is passing. But in opaque, there is no light passing pass through it. Now, formation of shadows. A shadow is formed when an opaque object blocks the path of light to a second object. So we already discussed is that if there is a movement of light or I am fronting in front of the light, so it cannot passing through me. Okay. So at that time, what will happen? It will result into shadow of mine. So light travels in a straight line and any barrier along its path awaits the where starting striking the barrier. This forms a region of darkness shaped like the surface of the objects obstructing the light. Usually shadow are formed on the side opposite to the source of light. The shadow is smaller if the angle between an object and the path of light is near to 90 degree. The shadow is longer if the angle between, so if your shadow is longer if the angle between the surface and the path of light is smaller. Shadow is larger if the obstructing object is closer to the starting point of light. So these are the situations we have how your shadow will be smaller, longer, larger according to their angle of it. Now the shadow appears blurred if the light sources is wider. If you have a wider sources, it means your shadow will be blurred. The length and size of shadow differ according to the time of the day since the sun's position varies throughout the day. The shadow is very long in the morning. As the day passes, the shadow becomes darker and shorter. The shadow is the shortest at noon when the sun is overhead. So these are the situation. According to that, you can conclude that when your shadow is big, large, small and larger. The shadow is again very long in the evening. Okay. So in morning, long, in noon, small, in evening, again long. When there are multiple sources of light, multiple shadow can occur. They can have darker overlapping sections. Condition necessary for the formation of shadows. We need an opaque object because only opaque object can stop the light passing through it. We need a source of light and a screen to make a shadow. And this is your activity which you can do. And now after doing that, you can conclude your answers. Now shadow in space, eclipses. An eclipses is a partial or complete hiding of one heavenly body by another with its shadow. From Earth, we often experience two kinds of eclipses, and an eclipses of the moon and eclipses of the sun. In general language, you also say grahan of it, right? So eclipses of the moon, sometimes as the Earth orbits the sun, it comes between the sun and the moon. When this happens, the Earth throws a dark shadow across the moon. This is known as an eclipse of the moon or a lunar eclipse. So an eclipse of the moon can only occur at a full moon and only if the moon passes through some portion of the earth's shadow, the light of the sun cannot fall on the moon, and that is why so the moon cannot be seen. If the complete disk of the moon is covered by the earth's shadow, the moon cannot be seen at all. So what will happen if sun covers the frontal part of the moon, then it is your sun eclipses. If the same process is vice versa for the moon, then this is your moon eclipses. So this is known as complete lunar eclipses. If the part of the moon is covered by the earth's shadow, we can call it partial lunar eclipses. So the lunar eclipse takes place during the night only. Eclipses of the sun. Sometimes the sun passes between the earth and the sun. The moon blocks the light of the sun and shadow of the moon is cast on the earth's surface. This is an eclipse of the sun or a solar eclipse. The solar eclipse occurs on a new moon day. Your moon eclipse will happen on full moon and your sun eclipse will happen on your new moon day. There are three types of solar eclipses: first complete, second partial, and third annular. All of you repeat after me: first complete, second partial, and third one is annular. During a complete eclipses, the moon completely covers our view of the sun. So what will happen? The moon is completely cover your sun movement. That is why we called it complete eclipses. A total eclipse is only visible from a narrow strip of the earth's surface at one point. From the area outside this narrow strip, the sun appears to be only partially covered. That is why we called it partial eclipse as seen. A partial eclipse will also occur when the sun, moon, and earth are not precisely lined up. The eclipses cannot be completed unless the center of the moon shadow visible to strike the earth. So you just have to understand here there is something happened in that way. They stop the lighting of one of it, and this will result into ellipses. If the completely we store it, so we called it complete eclipses. If we have partially completed, so it is your partial eclipses. And the eclipse type that occurs when the moon is at farthest distance from the earth is an annular, means once in a year. That is why we say it annular eclipses. The moon then appears too small to completely block out the disk of the sun. Eclipses do not occur on all new moon days only, or full moon days. Okay, so now this is the end of your chapter, students. I hope so you understood it very well and you like this chapter as well. Now I'm going to meet you in your next class. Till that, bye bye, have a good day.